everyone. My name is Benita G. You know that. I am the host of the Education Concierge Podcast. Oh, season 10. Oh, no, they told me not to make that noise. Look, I don't know. But I do know season 10, and we are talking about legacy in progress. And so, as you know, we vetted, we've asked, we slid into DMs of people on LinkedIn professionally. And we have amazing guests this season. So let's get started. Every episode, you need something to sip on. You need something to take your notes. Don't play. Because they drop nuggets, knowledge, and they drop how they are disrupting, dismantling, and building legacy in the education atmosphere. Because that's what we do. So I'm going to welcome our guest today. I already love her. You know how y'all know I'm wild, and it's always a yin and yang. And then you meet another person and they are wild, but it's like their calming spirit brings me down, but we can still have fun. This is who this is. Her name is Madeline Herrera. Y'all know I've been practicing trying to roll the R. And just let it go. I'm going to bring her in and you're going to welcome her like we always do as family because she is a legacy builder. Let's see if we can get her in here. Hi.
Hello.
How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm very excited.
Yes. So this is how we always start. We've done this for the past couple of seasons. I am a good old country girl, not Southern all the way, but country, definitely. From Lawrenceville, Virginia. My dad's from Georgia. Our mom was from Virginia. And as you come into our home for dinner or cookout, either one, you stop by the front door if you're in the house and you take your shoes off because it's red dirt clay. And then you go into the guest bathroom that's in the hallway and wash your hands because you can't wash your hands in the kitchen sink because we don't do that unless you're cooking. And do not use the towel that's hanging on the thing. We have paper towels for you. That's my mama's decorative towels. Don't touch them. And we're going to bring you in. So we asked the first question of the podcast. And the first question is, when I am fixing your plate at the dinner, would you prefer section plates or just regular plate?
That's such a good question. It depends on what we're eating.
Love it. Okay, so we normally have a lot. Greens, potato salad, yams, some type of beef, some type of pork, some type of chicken. So yeah.
So then I would want a sectioned.
Section, okay.
Because there's certain things I want to have mixed and there's certain things that I wouldn't. Right?
There it is. And so we're going to make your section plate of a little bit of everything. And we're going to make you a nice cold glass of sweet iced tea because unsweetened tea is a blasphemy. I don't know why we even. Well, and we do. We know if you're diabetic or we know if you're, trying to on a weight journey. But the rest of us don't care because we're already eating fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. And we'll work out tomorrow. So welcome so much to the Education Concierge Podcast, Season 10, Legacy in Progress. Please, now that you're family, because we've already fed you, please introduce yourself and tell us who you are, what you do, and what legacy do you have in progress right now.
So I'm Madeline, and I'm the director and founder of Limestone Community School in Lawrence, Kansas. Honestly, though, those titles don't exactly encapsulate how I view myself. At my core, I'm a person that believes that education can be a source of healing and transformation for the kids within the environment, but also the adults. And so that's really, I feel like, a better description.
I love that because that's how we're talking about legacy in formation, but also progress. And we are disrupting that. So I love how you talk about adults and parents. Give us some more about why you feel that is a healing, why you feel education is a healing space for adults and parents.
Yeah. So it's been, I don't know that I would have said that 5 years ago. I had taught in public schools for about a decade before I decided this is enough. It's so hard to pivot a large system, right? And Benita, people like you and me, we are about change and transformation, right? And so we don't do too well with and it's the same thing. And it's the same thing. And we know it doesn't work, but we're going to keep doing the same thing, right? And so I had to step away from that, start my own school. And it was through that journey that I realized, oh my goodness, we are doing immense amount of healing for the adults in the community. yes, we have a safe space for the children. Wow, their curiosity is able to be set free, right? There's lots of amazing things happening for them, but the parents are unlearning things. They are gaining new skills. And that's been absolutely humbling to get to be a part of. And so some of the biggest things that I'm recognizing that have been really healing is just people's own educational journey. When they have been told no, or they have been told they cannot do this, that they are not cut out for this or that, or some of our parents were very much supported, but just not in a necessarily a healthy way of right, you are so intelligent. How could you have made that mistake? You're so intelligent. Why do you have a B right now in this class? Right? These things that maybe are well-intentioned, but then create fear and anxiety of who am I if I am smart and I don't understand this concept, who am I? Right? And so to get to see parents heal through some of that has just been amazing.
I'm just sitting here and I was just like, this is why. And we always say it's the village mentality. Education isn't just the children. It's the entire village that's healed, that's progressing. I love it. I was sitting and I was like, how many times did I have conversations with parents about they didn't want their kids in the same system they grew up in? This was the only choice they had. And I would say, okay, well, what do you want me to do differently?
Yeah.
And we touched on it like, can you just continue to build them up? Can you just, Miss Gore, can you just get us some self-esteem? I said, I can't give it to them, but we can build on it. And even in our own lives, like I tell people all the time, I said, it's three of us. Because our mom was a school teacher and our dad just was a common sense businessman. And they knew that each one of us is different. We learn different.
Yep.
And what we're giving back to community looks different. You said something, you were like, you're so smart. How come you can't get this concept? And I'm so grateful for my parents because trigonometry, math was kicking my butt. It was just like everything else was easy. And I got to algebra, geometry, and it was just like my brain was like, girl, no.
Yeah, not going to do it.
And then I had a math teacher say, read algebra like you're reading literature, like a sentence. And my brain got it. But geometry, my brain was like, prove a triangle, that's what it is. Like, why are we talking about this? And so like I had this block. And then I got a trigonometry. I don't even know to this day, Miss Nancy Hicks, rest in heaven, how Miss Hicks passed me in trigonometry. But I had parents and they got me a tutor. And it was so bad, my parents said, stop studying. Baby girl, we love you. Because we grew, we grew up in a house that the C was failing. But they were like, if you get a C, we'll be happy. And that was the only time I could get a C was in math. They'd be like, okay, because I have AAAAC. And I never asked my parents, they were both great in school. And my sister was a brainiac in high school. She's like on the wall, top 10, blah, blah. And when I came through, it was just like, yeah, this was different. She's smart. This math is whooping her. Need to be supportive. And I love that. And you said something that we, in our, I don't want to say community, because I feel like when we say community, it shuns people. In our atmosphere, the word unlearn, been one of the major things you see as a CEO, as a businesswoman, as an entrepreneur, and as a school founder that has been the top. If you had to say, look, this is the first thing parents have to unlearn, or the hardest thing parents have to unlearn when they come from traditional backgrounds, what would you say?
Oh, that's so hard to pick one. There's like a couple that are just like vying in my head for top place. So can I share?
Share.
Okay. So one is that play is separate from learning. That's been a big one that I'll have to talk parents through. This is actually a way that your brain solidifies the information. It's also where we are growing so much socially, creatively. You'll see that kids start applying concepts that they've been learning, but because our playtime is so much more robust than what you would see in a traditional setting, it makes people scared. And also have a mindset in our society around play. Play is childish. Play is what you get to do once you've gotten all your work done. right? It's low on the list of priorities, even though we know from decades of research that play is as important as adequate sleep, adequate nutrition. It's up there within the building blocks of what we need as humans. And so that's an area that I see a lot of unlearning that needs to occur. And so and parents get there, right? Because they start to see the transformation in their kids. So that's one. And then another one is around time spent on academics, right? And there's a lot of understanding that the more time you spend, that equals better instruction or better outcomes. Which is interesting because we're having and have been having a national discourse about how a 40-hour work week isn't functional, right? And so if we know that's not functional for adults, it's interesting we haven't translated that, right?
I love it. One, I never thought about it like that until you said it. And two, how truthful is that? I work with first-year teachers and mentor new teachers with school districts and personally. And I'm on social media. And occasionally, instead of scrolling and going past, I will stop and make a comment. And two things I've been stopping lately on is I'll wait. I'm so guilty, Lord, forgive me. But that was my thing. And I'll talk about that later on, y'all. But the second one is punishment for playtime. And one person, educator, who was new, she said, yeah, I kept them back for 10 minutes because you're not going to disrupt my time teaching and da-da-da-da. And all I said was, so you're telling me the young boy in your class who was disruptive, you're going to take 10 minutes away from him being outside to burn the energy? Baby, he should be going out 10 minutes early. And everybody in the comments was like, I never thought about it like that. Why would I keep the young gentleman who was causing a disruption while I'm trying to get them settled and get you into a learning moment? You keep back for 10 minutes because he was disruptive during the learning moment. And now, do we have to set boundaries? Hey, let's switch our brains. Let's transition. Yes. Because that's how life is. You have a transition.
Absolutely.
But ma'am, he's going to be the line leader outside. You said, let's go. You ready? You got it? You got your jacket, whatever. I don't know, sunblock. What do you need? And let's leave. And if I can squeeze 10 more minutes of us staying out here,
Yes.
I need it. And I was in middle school. I promise you, testing, lunch, outside. And I got in trouble every time. And I would just sit there and go, because what is the problem? We've been locked in this classroom for 4 hours. I'm going crazy watching them take a test.
Yes.
I need the sun on my face.
Yeah.
And the breeze in my hair. So I don't hurt somebody child. And so we're unlearning, we're disrupting. But we're going to move into when you set out in this innovative education space. What are some of the beliefs that you know that you're challenging or systems or norms that you know you're challenging?
So I know I'm definitely challenging things around children being passive recipients of education. And really our philosophy is they are very active contributors to their learning and to their community. And so I'm challenging that belief. I'm also challenging what kids are capable of discussing and doing. There's a lot of times where we have apprehension about discovering and exploring things that kids are already coming into contact with, right? And for some reason, there's a belief that if we don't discuss it with them, they get to keep their innocence, their childhood, whatever it is. But that's not real. I think about our very first year, the first and second graders at the school decided that they wanted to build homes for people experiencing homelessness. And they wanted to do that. And they were so excited about it. And a parent got really upset. And they said that this is not appropriate to be talking about this issue with children. And I said, well, I think you need to think about how am I supposed to explain that to the child who did experience homelessness, who's very excited about this project, who feels very seen for the first time, who is being seen as a leader by his peers because he has this lived experience he gets to share with everybody. Everybody's like adding his thoughts into their plans for these homes, right? How am I supposed to then go to the kids and say, actually, this is inappropriate? What does that do to that child and anybody else who has had that experience and just hasn't shared it, or whose parent has had that experience, right? You're inviting them to internalize shame. And the kids brought this project up because they were noticing this is a problem in our community. And so therefore, it becomes an appropriate conversation, an appropriate topic. And it was a lovely project. Unfortunately, that family that complained, it was too much for them and they decided to leave the school. But I think it is possible to talk about these difficult and multifaceted topics with kids. And so I think that's another area where we're, pushing back against the norm.
And I'm so sorry that family was not ready later on to really truly embrace something that is definitely happening in the United States everywhere. And I love that the students embrace their peer.
Yes.
And I love how you said, and even other students may have experienced, they just weren't ready to share. And they were like, oh, we can do this. And first and second graders, let me tell y'all something. Do not underestimate these babies. The first and second graders, when they come through with a truth, and they do come through with understanding, I'm looking at this and then I'm looking at this and there's something wrong here.
Yes.
And why is it not? What's the problem? And that's your project-based learning. That's what project-based learning is, you guys.
Yep.
Looking at what's happening in their community around them. And how can I, as a community member, solve this? Solve that. And then tell us what was the outcome. Now I need to finish the story. What happened? Did we get some tents? Did we get some, how did we go to the council? What did we do?
Oh my gosh, we did everything. So we had city council members come in and talk with the kids about their ideas. An architecture firm came into the picture. And so we had groups of students, each designing a different home. So we had 4 homes in total, and architects came in every week for months to work with the kids, 5.5 months. They worked with them and they taught them how to design. They taught them how to build in scale. So they made their blueprints, but then they also made models. And then, it's an amazing architecture firm. They're called Multi-Studio. They're nationwide, but they started in Lawrence. And so they have that really community mindset, which is amazing. But then ultimately, the kids presented their designs to the housing trust in our county, and one of the homes got built. I know. And it's amazing. And we had a groundbreaking, and then we had a welcome event for the first resident, and the kids got to be a part of all of that. And even once they figured out the plot of land it was going to be on, the architects still met with the students that had originally designed it, because they would say, you know what, actually it's a south-facing property and we had designed it to be north-facing, so we need to make some changes. Guys, what do you think we should do? And so the kids still had agency that entire time to make the changes. And what the kids really wanted people to learn from this, they were hoping it would be a guide to adults, that if students could do this, what would the adults in the community be capable of doing? Which I thought was really sweet. They're like, they just need help figuring it out.
Here's your guide. Here's your pamphlet.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. And then I'm just sitting here going math and science and communication and English. And I didn't even know what an architect did. And now I want to be one. And community engagement. And just, oh my gosh. The list goes on, and just one, I saw the need. Yep. I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Looking at the time. Okay. Here we go. Name one challenge you faced and how you pushed through with creativity, care, or courage.
I think that's really interesting. I think as founders, we encounter a lot of different obstacles. There's always a new and interesting challenge that you need to overcome. I think for me, one that I had to personally move through just on my journey was accepting the fact that, okay, I am really doing something different within our community. This is not like the other schools in the area, and I don't have a name behind it, right? It's not Montessori. It's not Waldorf. These touchstones that people are more familiar with, or it's very easy to Google if you don't, right? And so I think for me, I just had to let go of an inner obstacle of people people being able to take it seriously when we first started out, right? That we're not a traditional school. And I think that's one of our superpowers, right? That we're doing things differently, that we are disrupting things. But the reality is also, it does make people really question, do you know what you're doing? And will kids still be learning? Is this going to be a waste of time, money, energy, whatever? And so getting to a place of real confidence that, you know what, I talked with people all around the globe as I was creating this. I dug into so much research, and I am a professional. And so I do have confidence in what I'm doing. And I think that was the main work for me internally the first year.
I love that. Getting to know who you are as a founder.
Yeah.
Because you already knew you already know who you are as an educator.
Yeah.
And it's this believing, and we always say, our audience, our students, our parents, they will find us. And of course, we're going to promote and do our social media, but word of mouth is our best advertisement. I love that. And I didn't even think like it's an internal, I was thinking external, but I love how you were like, no, I had to get creative and be like, no, ma'am, we have this.
Yeah.
And it is different, but it is necessary. And kids are going to learn because options are necessary.
Yes, absolutely.
I love a good, that's why when you go to the restaurant, there are options.
Yes.
I love it. Like, do I want a watermelon salad or just a Caesar salad? Like, what do I want?
Yeah.
If you're allergic, my sister's allergic to avocado. I love avocado on everything. You put it on everything.
Yep.
And we have options. So that's detrimental to her, but it's not to me.
Or what's going to fuel you right now, right?
Yes.
We all go through stages where it's like, that's going to look different. And so we all need those options.
And I love food because I love food. Here we go. We now call this the truth table. It was formerly the controversial corner.
Ooh.
And because can you before I do that, let our audience know what age group you work with at the community school.
Okay, so we currently, as of in a few days, we will be kindergarten through 7th grade, and eventually we'll be kindergarten through 8th grade.
Yes. Okay. So K through 8. So here's the controversy. I told you I like social media, and we have on social media. I will not say which platform, but on a platform, we have a parent, guardian, or adult stating that she does not understand why the kindergarten teachers are not helping her potty train her child.
Interesting.
And I would like to know what you think about that, because all the 26 years I've been teaching, you can't come to kindergarten unless you're potty trained. And so, and we don't go into the bathroom with the students. And even when I did kindergarten, if a student had an accident, we had the bag of change of clothes. Yes. And then I had a plastic bag for them to put the soiled clothes in. And I would actually put it in the bathroom. Sometimes I wanted to lay it out just because that's what they still needed. And I would exit the bathroom.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they would come out and I'll get a glove and I would put the soil, because sometimes it's too much. They're already upset or something. I was like, I got it. Here's some baby wipes, wipe your bum and all your parts again. Because we can't wash you.
Right.
And calm down, wash your hands. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean up and get everything ready and put it back in the Ziploc bag, put it in the bag. And normally we text or let a parent know, this has happened. We're going to send home these clothes. You got to send us something back. So here's that controversial corner, Madeline. What do you think about this lady? She was hot. She was mad. I don't understand how kindergarten teachers, ma'am.
I think, so one of my parents teases me about this, because I am such a naturally curious person. And so I'll hear something like this and I go, fascinating. This parent goes, no, this one's not fascinating. This one is just, there's a problem and I'm like, no, it is. It's fascinating to me. And so that's how I feel with this. Of like, I want more information. I want to understand more about what were the expectations that she had coming in. What are the specific needs of this child that they, because it's fairly typical to be potty trained by the time you're in kindergarten, right? Definitely not going to say that's always the case, but it's fairly typical. So I'd want to understand more around that. And then, I think ultimately it isn't a good fit for the kindergarten teacher to do that. And you've laid this out really well of, we don't want to get into any of those gray areas where we're entering a bathroom with a child. We're also not always trained in that, right? And there is best practices around potty training. And so I wouldn't feel like it's fair as the director to be telling my staff, like, now suddenly you have some new responsibilities that you were not expecting. And deal with it, right? No, that's not something within my comfort zone. But I would want to talk with the parent and kind of unpack things and like understand why there was such a mismatch between her expectations and then the actual outcome. And then I'm also really into getting people in contact with resources. So it's like the answer from me might be a no, but I'm not saying I will not help you, right? So if this is a need you have, let's figure out, like, have you talked to who are the people that you have talked to about this? What have you already tried? Let's see if we can brainstorm some solutions together. So I think that's where, like, if this was a parent in my school, that's how I would go. But again, it's just because I have that strong curiosity where I'm like, this is so not typical. Let's talk about it, because there is some misunderstanding.
Everything you said, I am your friend. Be like, nah, girl, something is no. But listening to you is why you're a legacy in progress. It's why you're a school founder. It's why you're like, nobody else. It's still going to be a no for us, but I need to help her unpack some things. And the first thing you started off with, I help heal parent. And it just oozed right back out of you again. Naturally, you were like, I need to help. I need to ask her, who have you spoken to? Who is helping guide why are we disconnected, ma'am? You're like, what planet does it tell you in the United States that I don't know about other countries right now? Yeah. And so, but the more you talk about it, I was like, did she go to? It may be something going on with the child. Have we gone to the pediatrician?
Yep.
What have you done potty training at home? Because you said that, and I remember potty training a girl and potty training a boy. Not the same. I remember helping potty train our brother. He's 5 years behind me, and 10 years between my brother and my sister, and my mom, and we were like. And my mom called my dad at work one day, and she's like, "Come and help us with this because." She's like, I don't know what we doing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's so different.
Right. And so my dad came home and then he took over. And it didn't take long, but we were just struggling. And I was just like, it's everywhere, Mom. She was like, I don't know. And so luckily, my dad was laughing at us. He was like, yeah. And I said, my mom was like, she's like, I tried. She's like, the girls, she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm not a man. And I think my brother was like 3 weeks or 3 weekends, really. My dad was a businessman. And then on the weekends, and he was done. But I love that. And that's why your school has been successful for the 4 years and will continue to be successful. Because even if you're saying to that parent, this is not a good fit, let me still make sure you understand where the resources are. Because our parents are just inundated. And we are. People in general are inundated with so much going on. They don't always have the capacity or the bandwidth to look for resources.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of pieces, I touched on it before, but there's a lot of shame in our culture right now. And so there's a lot of internalized, I am failing as a parent, or I should have been able to do this. And sometimes it comes out as anger, or because the shame is so intense that you don't take some first steps that maybe from someone else who's not feeling those intense emotions. It's like, oh, well, have you talked to your pediatrician? That would feel like a more obvious first step to some people.
Right. And I love that you said that, because one of the things because I was in middle school forever, and I was saying to the teacher was like, this parent don't even care. And I said, so I'm going to come in with you for the meeting. And one of the first things, we do the introductions. You know how we do it. Is this your first child entering middle school? They go, yeah. And then I look at the teacher and go, they have no clue. This is new. This preteen, teenage, they don't know. They don't even know who this child is. Last year, they were in the 5th grade and they were nice and cuddly. In 6th grade, they are like, I'm going to have to take you to see the Lord, Jesus, Allah, alabaster box, whoever, somebody, the trees. You got to go. And the parents are struggling. So we need to pause. What is it that you need, or how are you struggling? And when the kid leaves out of the room, like you said, give them the resources. This is a major transition from elementary to middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Hormones are everywhere. Pain, self-esteem, like they don't know if they're coming or going. And then you want to include some social media and a phone. And I said, so let's just start here. How can we help you? Right. And so you're right. The parent and both mom and dad. I had a mom and dad come in and look at me and go, we don't You don't even know who this kid is. And I was like, I know you don't. I know he's yours though. And he's just trying to navigate. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
To help navigate. Okay, so here we go. I love this. This is the part we call rapid reframe or rapid fire. Quick hits but big truths. We try and go fast, but us educators, we just never get it right. And it's okay. I have submitted to, hold on, let me pull this up. I have submitted to the fact that we're not going to get it right. And it's okay. I want you to answer with your best truth, your truth.
All right, I'll do my best.
Okay. Curriculum or culture?
Culture.
One thing you would delete from the traditional school day?
Standardized assessments.
Okay. That only comes around once a day, but okay.
Not in our district. It's 6 times a month.
We're going to talk about that offline. Okay. That's a whole nother controversial corner. Most overused education buzzword.
I feel like this is really where it's going to be controversial. I think data-driven, when people aren't actually, like, they're misusing it sometimes.
You're not driving anything. Sit down.
Yeah.
Strategy. No, sorry. Start with strategy or start with heart?
Start with heart.
Most meaningful mistake you've made in this education atmosphere.
Oh, this one's hard. Like, can it be? Okay, I'm just going to answer this way. I think sometimes it was a mistake for us to open with 3 grade levels instead of just 1 because it was really intense. And also, I don't regret it completely because it is just kind of, I think, what needed to happen.
Right. That's a meaningful mistake. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I love it. What would your 15-year-old self say about the work you do today?
Okay, they would be shocked and they would want answers. They would
don't explain it. Shocked and they will want answers. I love that. One myth about education that needs to go away. Myth.
That kids aren't capable of handling responsibility.
There it is. Test scores or testimonials?
Testimonials.
Textbooks or TikTok tutorials of the lesson?
Neither.
Teachers would have a third option. Ma'am, it doesn't have to go on TikTok, but it's a TikTok-like tutorial. I love it. So neither is your answer. And we need it. Here's the last one. Fill in the blank. The future of education is?
Limitless.
I love it. Okay, now this is where you do your call to action. What do you want the learners to do next? How do we support your work? How do we challenge the system and or shift our thinking?
I think that's a fantastic question. And I think if people could take a beat and take a look at what is happening in education across the board, we could begin to move into understanding of some of the rapid changes that we're seeing. And I think that would have really positive ripple out effects.
Just pause, process, and then plan. That's what we always say. I always say that to my students. Look at everything. Look at the whole picture, process, and how do we proceed? How do we go to the next thing? I love that. Okay. So now, how do we get in touch with you? How do I send my kids to your school? I know you're open in a couple of days. So give us other things. Are you on Instagram, LinkedIn? How do we donate if we feel led to?
Yeah.
What do we need to do?
Donations, we would be so happy to receive right now. We're looking to purchase our school building. So that's really the next step so that we can remain sustainable. All of that, and my contact information. We have different resources on our website. It's limestoneschool.com. I think that other than that, like our Instagram handle is Limestone Community School. It's pretty fun to follow along. You get to see the kids in action and hear from our teachers. So those would be the 2 places, I think, to go.
Here's our final word. So close every episode by handing you the mic. So I grew up in a Southern Baptist church and Little Shallow Baptist Church on Otter Dam Road in Jarrett, Virginia. It's like this. And you are the guest pastor. I'm the head pastor. We've already opened the doors of the church. Everybody came down. What is something you would leave with us? A word, a quote, a prayer, a poem, a call to purpose, a call to go out, anything that's on your heart to leave your legacy in real time.
I'll share a quote that's been on my mind and that I just keep coming back to. It's from Jane Goodall. And obviously a lot of us are aware of the biology part of her career, but she has also been a huge advocate for play and has been on the board of directors for the National Institute for Play and things of that nature. But here's the quote: "You cannot get through a single day without having an impact on the world around you. What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make."
Madeline, you have decided what kind of difference you want to make. Legacy and progress. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Madeline is now family. Okay? So next time she comes, baby, you got to fix your own plate. But you still got to wash your hands in the bathroom. Thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you for coming on season 10. I just want to say we give people their flowers while they're still alive. And I am excited. I am empowered. I am in awe of what you are doing and what you are going to do for your community, for the nation, and for our education atmosphere. Your community school, I do follow you guys on social media. I love it. I guess I need to follow. Use all my social medias to follow you. Somebody out there, you are a developer, you are a donor, you are a sponsor, you are just a supporter of Education Option. This is where we need to spend our money, and this is who we need to support. So support can look differently. It can be, hey, do you need somebody to look at your bookkeeping?
Yeah.
Hey, do you need a personal assistant? Hey, we have t-shirts, we have some swag, we can do that for you. So if you think that, it just needs to be funding, it doesn't. Funding helps, but there's so many different ways to help schools in the innovative education space. All right, y'all, this is it. I will see y'all in the next episode. And don't forget, like, share, subscribe, but more importantly, go do something.